Hey there, Adrienne Elise here. Welcome to the Gaia Daily for November 21st through 25, 2022. What an intense, powerful, dynamic set of astrology. We've got this intense, beautiful kite formation in the sky with the Grand Water Trine. All of our personal planets have our Mercury and Venus and the Sun all have made this kite. Mercury and Venus have now moved over into Sagittarius, bringing a shift of energy. And we've got this great kite, but it's with Mars retrograde in exact square to Neptune and Jupiter retrograding back into Pisces at the end degrees of Pisces. It feels like we can't get off the couch, much less get lift and perspective and take it to a new level. But the energy is shifting because tomorrow, the sun, or on Wednesday, the sun moves over into Sagittarius and comes together with the moon catches up and a Sagittarius new moon at 1 degree 38 minutes, as well as the very next day on the 24th, Thanksgiving in the US, Jupiter turning direct. Now, we're not going to feel Jupiter really the momentum coming back until Jupiter moves back into Aries. That's December 21st. But that period of time of Jupiter this next spring with Jupiter in Aries, uh, incredibly empowering time for a huge energy for action and moving forward and breaking through into new levels. So we're feeling that energy and we're seeing it in the astrology right now because Jupiter is turning direct on the same day that this, or just the day after the sun moves over into Sagittarius, Jupiter's home sign, for that new moon at 1 degree. Everything is telling us it's time for a new start. We have been wallowing in the shadows long enough. But Mars retrograde square Neptune, that's exact through the next day or so. But we'll be feeling it to the end of November. And Jupiter retrograde at the end degrees of Pisces, just kind of pulling back on this energy. Once Jupiter turns direct and gets going and has some momentum, we're going to be feeling a huge shift, especially with the sun, the moon, and Mercury, and Venus in the sign of Sagittarius, a stellium. They're at the early degrees of Sagittarius because Mercury and the Venus are finally, Mercury is finally caught back up to Venus. So they were close together as they moved over into Sagittarius over these last couple of days. They come into an exact conjunction this week, for most of the week, from 4 to 8 degrees of Sagittarius. So this is a council. We just had, the last Mercury retrograde cycle was in Libra, Virgo, Virgo, Libra. And so we're talking about that perfect balance. Mercury catching back up to Venus is a council around the perspective of the feminine and or our perspective around the feminine. And so it's like all of this astrology together is just this major adjustment. And so we it's important to understand right now. We have gotten the message again and again that this Mars retrograde deep initiation process, right? But the psychic healing that's happening right now, even though it feels a lot of people are feeling pulled back into some dark energies that they thought, it's kind of this feeling of like, oh, I made it out of there. I didn't think I ever had to go back there. And it's almost like the underworld is just calling to us right now with the sun at the end degrees of Pisces. Today, the sun is in exact trine with Jupiter, the sun in Scorpio, an exact trine with Jupiter. And so this is the very end of the sun and all of our personal planets making this kite. But with these other factors, Mars retrograde and Jupiter back in Pisces, It feels like even though Jupiter is magical and mystical, Jupiter's backing up into this kite. And so it's like we're not going into the dark ages, into the depths, into this initiation just because. We're going there to take back our power for good and never have to go there again. And literally leveling up and out of the constructs of the past, building a new world and a new life every day with every breath. The deep psychic healing that I'm seeing happening is so profound and it feels like nothing's happening because of the retrograde energies, but so much is happening on a deep internal level. And it also goes together with the ego death experience. And so there can be excruciating pain on a soul level as we go through these things. And we have to let go of who we're not. And yet it's like attached to us. And we can't figure out who we really are and who we're not. And so it's like we've gone into this deep into the depths in order to claim back the to get ourselves out of those past stories, but also to claim back the mystical magic of the Piscean age. This Grand Water Trine is so beautiful. And yet, this whole kite is held together by Black Moon Lilith and Pluto. That's the axis of the kite. Now, so this opposition, Black Moon Lilith in Cancer and Pluto in Capricorn, is going to be exact for most of the month of December, 26 degrees and then 27 degrees. So 8 to 9, when you add those numbers up in numerology, saying it's coming to an end of the dark hidden secrets that are keeping us from claiming back our power. Because Pluto in Capricorn is about structures of authority, and Pluto is our power, our psychic power. No wonder we're going through such a cleansing. And so that it Pluto and Capricorn, Pluto rules our fear of our power. And so we're looking at all of the deep hidden secrets in the underworld of this kite, it's the bottom of the kite, that have kept us, have manipulated us, it kept us in the dark about our power, our right to our power, whether we can handle our power. And it's showing us where we've given it away to outside sources. So the Black Moon Lilith is the deepest, darkest depths. In Cancer, it's about our deepest energy that's keeping us from being at one with Source and coming out of the delusion of separation. It's the feminine. And for all of us, though, because we've all been in male and female bodies, we all have masculine and feminine within, we're starting to learn to stand up for our intuition and our internal truth. Now, this is a message that's coming through too. That it's up and down with these intense waves of energy, but it feels for some who are aware of more deeper truths, this Black Moon Lilith opposition of Capricorn is bringing up a huge energy of the psychic burden that we carry by being awake. And the deal is that the psychic burden has been over lifetimes for supernova souls from pretty much almost your very first lifetime often. And so this psychic burden, knowing the wider, a little bit more of a truth. Of course, we all don't really know anything, but um, while humanity sleeps and the pain that continues to ensue because we don't see how we've given our power away. And so this is on the table. We have to remember that we're in a psychological game, and the forces of distraction that are working against our spiritual ascension will do everything to just that, keep us distracted, to keep us in a lower vibration, to keep us in emotional turmoil. This is huge right now. Excuse me. So we can, by our awareness of this, we can continually bring ourselves back to center where we can be neutral. All of this whole play, everything here is about us coming into neutrality. Earth plane is an ass kicker, apparently. And because it's got such extreme duality, the extreme duality is because we are, it's manifest form. It goes along with manifest form. It's also about everything here, whether it's working against us or for us, is pushing us. It's something to work against, to take back our autonomy. We It's hard, it's like we can say these words, but we need to come to know in our heart and soul on every level and in our psyche, that the human soul in a body is the highest form of authority. And so all of these intense energies that are working against light workers right now are pushing you into that corner so that you pop yourself through out of your seed pod and into your light mod. And it's like once we can kind of see that everything is working, is here for us to work against, because we're dealing with a whole bunch of shit really quickly. Because it seems like over lifetimes, because of different situations for supernova souls, we couldn't do the karmic work. We were too busy running and hiding and being imprisoned and getting killed or whatever. So this lifetime is the first lifetime that we've been ready karmically and available. And it's like shit show, right? A lot of supernova souls are like, what? I must have done something horribly wrong to deserve this karma. Like, what's going on here? It doesn't at all fit who I am as a soul. And so we need to know that we are cleaning up a whole bunch of stuff and it's happening so fast right now. Literally, you wake up tomorrow, you're a totally different person. And we got to just like surrender to that flow, especially with this Grand Water Trine energy. It's like we got these intense squares and this confusion and this backwards and twisted and dark, and then we've got this beautiful earth water trine, and it's saying let go, release, you know release yourself from the burdens, and um be present in the magical mystical experience that we're having here and what it's all about. From that place, you can understand that the power of what people go through to grow as a soul. Supernova souls have gotten into some real karmic dark loops though, because they came in here to help and save and be the savior. And now we all feel like we need a savior. And this is it. This is this whole dynamic here. It's like we can't move to this next place. Uh, I mean, ultimately, when you come to that crossroads, it's only you know, that can make that leap. Nobody can do it for you. And so we need to know we're strong. We need to know we're autonomous. We can't move into the next level while we have any outside loyalties, where we have any feelings like it's our job to bring someone along with. This is a huge energy. From very early on in the supernova soul, getting supernova soul story coming through, getting the message that when supernova souls decide to take off their burden of karma, of responsibility to help and heal, and basically holding the energy, blame, and shame over the Atlantean catastrophes. Um, all the stuff we took the blame for that we didn't do. Once we release that and hold all the karma we hold for the dark forces, then it's a game changer. And It's happening because there has been a cleansing and purification happening on the lower astral realm. This is a big part to do because of supernova souls and the work that you've been doing. It's so beautiful and powerful to see. And it's really important because messages are coming through about this period of time coming up in the future where there's just a huge entrance and exit of souls into this realm. And that lower astral plane needs to be clean so that those souls can come and go without getting stuck. And so that is such important work that you've been doing as a supernova soul that you don't even realize you've been doing. But it's time to just kind of come into awareness about this because it's also about your gifts and skills and how powerful you are. In this world, you're nothing because this world is based on physical wealth, things that you can stack up. Your wealth is invisible and so much more valuable. So much more valuable. This is just like, can we just take a deep breath and have a sigh of relief over all the work we've done? That we're awake through this, that we made it through this far. We're not going to give up and we're not going to go try to solve anybody else's problems anymore because they need that process to set themselves free. So huge shifts and this has to do everything with the Black Moon Lilith, the deep dark secrets of mothering and nurturing. Supernova souls coming in thinking it's their job to save, help, and heal. It's spirit's job. Of course, we can facilitate in beautiful ways when it's well received. But karmic responsibility to take away other people's pain is no longer appropriate because everybody needs whatever they can get right now to help them move and be ready for this next leveling up experience. We don't want to take away anyone's process. It's a whole different perspective for a supernova soul coming back to that place of center and that neutrality. And this is what's coming up. It's like, watch your triggers, these things that trigger you. You're like, oh, that makes me really upset. And it's like, okay, I'm not neutral to that. I'm still living in duality consciousness. The beautiful thing about the process we're in is that we get to stay in a body and transform our reality and live from oneness heart consciousness at the same time in physical form. It's so beautiful. Um, and so we're um with Black Moon Lilith in Cancer, perhaps this is the deep dark secrets that have been keeping us in the dungeon. Is feelings of responsibility. Somehow it's our fault. We need to make up for it. Um, because Black Moon Lilith is the deep dark secrets of the feminine, and it also often has to do with where the feminine has been persecuted. And so those healers that were persecuted, us, um, all this is on the table. All that happened so that we would give up our power and agree not to come into our potential. That's Pluto and Capricorn. So we are going into the depths of the darkness of the past, but to set ourselves free for good. Because with the sun moving into Sagittarius this week, and then the new moon and Jupiter turning direct, it's like whiplash. And so don't get too attached to the dark places that you found yourself, because the energies they use this astrology, they try to use the negative aspects in the psychological control. And so there's this energy of hopelessness and you can never get anywhere. What's the point? What's the point? Nobody's ever going to understand or see you for who you are or be able to communicate on the level. Nothing's ever going to change. Nothing's ever going to get better. And that's a bunch of BS because you have changed so much and you're so much better. And it's time to just begin giving yourself permission to reap the rewards. This is receiving your own abundance. So very powerful. And It's powerful that Jupiter's turning direct, and it'll take a while till December 21st till it gets back into Aries, but I'm telling you, be ready for that Jupiter in Aries. It's like, are you ready to finally shoot off on what you've been trying to do in the last 4 years, you know? And, also what's happening is we've got Mercury and Venus coming together in council over how to perfect the feminine so we can have the perfect balance, the cleansing, the healing of the feminine, the bringing the feminine from the dark back to the light, the phoenix. And but then Mercury and Venus next week, actually this weekend, come into a trine with Chiron. And trines are very supportive. And Chiron is in Aries. So it's speaking to this Aries energy of like, what does it mean to really live? Like grabbing a hold of your life and your life force and your passion and your purpose. And that's why this Jupiter in Aries period of time is so going to be so important. So we're being invited to dream into this with these trines, with Chiron, and everywhere where we gave our power away and where we continue to give our power away. And so the Sagittarius trine with Chiron in Aries is just like fire energy we haven't had for quite a while. And it's like a precursor. And it's saying we can do this, we can claim back our life force. How do we do it? The early degrees of Sag are about getting back on your quest, your spiritual quest, your spiritual purpose. Coming back together with the people you've worked with, the souls you've worked with over many lifetimes, getting back together on the projects that you came here to do. Getting back on that horse and saying, "Come on, nothing's gonna stop me now." So that's the energy, and then Chiron and Aries is these wounds over where we've given that life force away. And so it's like we're revving up, a huge revving up because we've had Mercury and then Venus are move into Sag, then the sun, the new moon, Jupiter turning direct. And so it's just this ratcheting up of energies and frequencies and prying that kite up off the couch and out into the world in a new world and a new way. So very exciting times, and just know that we are going through that deep and profound process. Massive psychic healing is happening so fast, and you got to just be really gentle with yourself. Very vulnerable places coming up. But now we're moving into an energy where we're taking all that work in the darkness and we're bringing it back into the light to enjoy a wider perspective and a bigger truth. And it's time for us to just live there. Let everything else be and heal from here. Be the healer you are, you know? But first receive your own abundance and then an overflowing cup available for all. So hang in there, very powerful these next few days, incredibly powerful shift. So feel into it. And maybe you'll get a glimpse of what this Jupiter and Aries period of time is about for you. So I hope you can join me for a new moon activation. This is going to be Wednesday, November 23rd, 3 p.m. Mountain Time. And the information to sign up for this activation is in the information box below. And activation is you're going to get together, talk about the astrology a little bit, and do a guided meditation, reading the energies of the group and whatever information and clarity, using the astrology to our benefit, and coming together to build that supernova field that can be so helpful for all nova souls right now. So I hope to see you there at 3 p.m. Wednesday, the 23rd, for a Sagittarius new moon activation. And if not, I'll see you on the next update. Until then, I'm Adrienne Elise. Namaste.